All right, race fans, welcome. We're here live tonight, Las Vegas Speedway, and I tell you, it's going to be an outstanding race with the WCI Parts Sim500 Truck Series live tonight. Well, Joe White up here in the booth, and I'm accompanied by, I always say Gail, but is it Gail? Let's get it wrong.
I will answer to anything, Joe. Yeah, yeah, it's Gael, but like I said, no worries, sir. You can call me whatever you want.
No, well, I always try to get the names right. It's Achilles' heels, so to speak. But I tell you what, well, I want to appreciate everybody tuning in. It's taking over the helms here, the WCI Parts Sim500 Truck Series here live, and we're in race 2 of the championship. They do have the chase going on here. Last week was a pretty good one. It was at the Canadian Tire Motorsports. That's an awesome, wild style road course there. But tonight we're at Las Vegas, and a lot of things for us to talk about here tonight as we get set. Round 2 of the chase here for these truck guys.
Yeah, so we got 16 guys going for that one spot up at the end of the season. That's saying so right now. Tommy Ryan won last week at the Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. So, should he advance to the next segment, he'll get 3 bonus points towards that next round. So, those are always very important to have. And then so I mean, right now they're all pretty bunched up with pretty close to each other for those top. Right now they're all going for that top 12 position to advance to the next segment.
Well, I'll tell you what, qualifying has ended. Let's grid these bad boys up here tonight. It's a man on pole. David Comstock puts it out front. Trey Edson right there in second. We got Chad Cole sitting in third. Justin Fuller there in fourth. Fifth place starter E.J. O'Rourke. We got J.D. Lard. I know I just messed his last name. Laird, I think it is. Starting in sixth. Seventh place man Kevin Brown. Eighth place starter there Ryan Howard. Ninth place starter Steve Goschalk. Tommy Ryan rounds the top 10s. Look through the rest of it here. I call these the monster trucks out here, and I got some monster power about to happen here at Las Vegas. And that old saying, whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Whatever happens on this track, well, it's going to stay here too.
Yeah, and it's going to be a good one, I think, tonight too. I was watching them in practice. It looks like the truck's got a little bit of looseness to it. Depending on how the cautions fall, there could be kind of a pit strategy if they want to short pit and make an extra stop for tires, or stretch it. If you stretch it, you can probably make it on 2 stops, but if you really want those fresher tires, you can do a 3-stopper. So just going to depend how cautions fall, and then how much fall off these trucks have. But I think we're going to see them moving around. From what I could see, looks like the top line had some pretty good momentum. So I'm pretty excited to see what kind of show these guys put on tonight.
Absolutely. Las Vegas usually brings about some good racing. Like I said, if it is a little bit slick out here, these guys, they'll compensate for it after a while. There's some of the best that you have to offer here tonight iRacing. A good group of trucks out here. A lot of them. We're going to do 100 laps here at Las Vegas. Good little field here tonight. Like I said, WCIparts.com. Want to welcome them on board as title sponsor here tonight for Las Vegas. Get a little bit of race info here. Here we go, race info. 1.5 mile track, so we will see some pretty good speeds here out of these trucks. Really hot too, 124 degrees when I'm showing.
It's got an extra 100 for USA. It should be 124 right now for track temps. So, I mean, it's pretty warm. And something interesting to note right now is the top 3 in the points are also the top 3 in the grid with David, Trey, and Chad. So kind of shows those guys have been going after it all season. So they've been running well all season, and they're starting up front tonight.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, that is a hot track temp here. We are out in the desert of Las Vegas, so definitely gets pretty warm out here. And 124, that's probably about as hot as I've seen a track temp here on iRacing. I've seen some, upwards of 110s, maybe 10s, but wow, 124. That doesn't make these things slick or whatever, hot and handle out here on this track. We'll have to see. His lights off on the pace car. We're getting set to go green flag racing. Round 2 of the chase here tonight. WCIparts.com's own truck series for the Sim500 pace cars in. That man up front's going to lead them to the line. As the green flag flies, we're racing.
Yeah, really good start there for David Comstock. Easily able to clear Trey. Trey immediately tries to get to the bottom, make sure he protects that line. Just because obviously right now they're still getting up full up to speed. So short way around's the way to go for the moment. But yeah, after this, I think you'll start seeing him fan out as the momentum builds.
You know, the biggest thing is you do have passing lanes here, but the tire wear will become a factor after the race. They're already 3 wide in the back, 2 wide up here in the front. I think you got to go back here to where around about Steve Goschak and company back there, maybe a little further. They were doing 3 wide there for the moment.
Yes, and I think you're right. I think tire wear is going to be a critical one. I think they're going to need to really take care of that right rear, especially because if they start abusing that too soon, that's just going to make it really tough for them to kind of keep that traction on the exit of the turns. That was what I was noticing, especially I think it's off of turn 4. I want to say I saw a lot of them starting to get really loose on exit. So that's going to be some things to keep an eye on for these guys.
Absolutely. Up front, you still got Dave Comstock out there. He's got Trey Edson tearing down his back tailgate. Get Chad Cole right there behind him. Justin Fuller, we know he knows how to manhandle one of these machines. J.D. Laird right there in 5th place, looking good. Everybody's kind of single file, but like I said, it's kind of a momentum style track here. You lose a bit of a momentum. You can lose some spots there as you see a little wiggle out of Trey Edson, but they're door to door with Justin Fuller for 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, so Trey got a really good entry in the 3 there. He's going to try to go for the lead here underneath David Comstock. Looks like he'll lead this lap, but now the question is going to be whether or not he can clear him off of turn 2, which it looks like he might be able to do. He's got a really good run entering 1 here.
So far, looks like the low lines, maybe a little place you can pass at. Tires are new. Everybody's got grip. Later on, though, I think they're going to travel up the track middle to high lane, so we're going to have to see how that pans out. But you're right. New leader, Trey Edson, takes it to the top side there and puts it on point. Dave Comstock falls to second. Chad Cole now is tearing up the back bumper there, but you got the 82. He's on that inside. JD's there also. You got a mass of trucks up front battling it out.
Yeah, I'll say Trey's probably pretty happy where he's sitting right now, watching everybody behind him fight two by two for the 2nd position. So you got Justin Fuller thinking about trying to make it 3 wide there, coming off of 2. Looks like he's going to go for it here. So we got 3 wide in the backstretch for 2nd place.
Absolutely. 3 wide down on the inside. Chad Cole's got it for the moment. The 51's up high. Justin Fuller, he's not going to let him have it too easily. David Comstock backed out of there. Said, fellas, it's a little early for me to be trying to do that at lap 5. But he's already door to door with the 46 there of JD.
Yeah, I think he might be right now kind of planning on the long game here. I think a lot of these guys are running hard. Chad Corey, they just got a little bit loose off 2, had to breathe it. I think they let Fuller slide in front of him, but he was able to kind of grab that spot to hang on to that 3rd position though.
So far, good racing up front amongst all these guys. We've got a huge field here. But the top guys right now doing some good battling. Go back to about the 10th, 11th place spots. You got Ryan Howard back there with Tommy Ryan, Sean Castro. The one thing about this track here, Gal, is you look at the lap times, it will be very hard to pass. Everybody is not that far off. I mean, from 1st place all the way back to around 18th spot, there is not even a second splitting that field. Actually, the top 20, not even a second splitting the field up. So that tells you right there, lap time wise, very close, which in other words means you're not really going to see somebody come from the back just blowing the doors off everybody. If you do, then we might have to kind of just look at what do they got, jet motor?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think you're exactly right. I think what's going to be critical is if you were starting in the back and you need to work your way front, I think the critical thing is going to be to take care of those tires, like I said, especially that right rear, and then kind of as the other trucks, maybe if they're running harder, if they start getting a little bit looser, that's where you can start kind of making your move when they can't get that power down like you can. But yeah, right now though, like I said, it definitely looks like it's going to be a difficult one to pass this. I'm looking. Looks like Brian Macklin's done a really good job moving forward so far. He started 21st and he's up to the 15th position. So that's only in about about 8 laps now. So really good start for him to start this one off. But as we say that, Chad Cole's looking at that 2nd spot again on Fuller.
Absolutely it is. A good battle there for 2nd place and 3rd place on back. Everybody's kind of single file for the moment. You're right, Chad Cole, though, he's got that 82 machine up high. I got a feeling after a while that's going to be the place to be, but the man checking out, Trey Edson up front, he's looking in his rearview mirror going, battle it out, guys. I'll just keep, spreading this lead up the best I can. You got Justin Fuller there in 2nd. Chad Cole sitting in third, JD there in fourth, Kevin Brown up there in the fifth place, and David Comstock's falling off the pace just a little bit. He's back in the sixth.
Yeah, I didn't expect to see him slip back as far as he has so far. Like I said, it might be all part of a plan for him for a longer run. Maybe he's going to go after it. Or again, if maybe we're thinking about the pit strategies, maybe he's thinking he's going to do that two-stop strategy where some of these guys might be pushing harder to go for the three-stopper. So as I said, oh, JD Laird looks like he just got the wall a little bit in turn 1 and 2 there. Looks like not too much damage done, just a little bit of momentum lost though.
Well, that's another thing we have to think about. After a while, you know, these trucks will get a little tight. That's the known part about this track. It's not always about loose, but you get that, you know, they might have said it was loose, but, you know, we always talk about the loose tight. You see them right there again, kind of lose it coming out the nose, coming out of the turn ever so slightly, but I got a feeling, yeah, they're probably loose going in, tight coming out.
Yeah, and it could easily be that pushing loose thing where you just got so much wheel cranked into it that when you exit, it just wants to snap on you.
And right now, you see him kind of traveling up the track for the moment, along with a lot of other people. And that might be what's happening to David Comstock. Truck's getting a little bit tight, got that, you know, kind of, you know, a little bit loose going in. And, you know, the way I kind of explain that to folks out there, I know we got a lot of, you know, people that understand what we're saying, but there's some that don't. The kind of way I explain that is, is when you go into the turn, you know, how you have to try to combat that is if the truck is kind of loose going in, you obviously back the turn up. The problem is sometimes you might back it up a little bit too much. And when you back it up too much, then you step down on that throttle. When you step down on the throttle, well, it can push. Now, the way I explained that really should have been the opposite way around. If you're tight going in, loose coming off. Actually, that should have been the way I explained it. Actually, these guys look like they're loose going in, tight coming off.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep an eye on their hands on the wheel here to see, yeah, which way. Yeah, it's loose and exit 2 off 2 there. I was watching Chad Cole there, and he was able to get that second spot. And he definitely had a handful of wheel to the right as he was exiting 2, and just kind of trying to chase it. So, yeah, I'm trying to keep an eye. It looks like they kind of got that right rear just hanging out a little bit in the turns right now.
So then the way, you know, I was kind of explaining it here is probably the ideal of what you would see on the track. Like you say, when you go into the turns, she's just a little bit tight. She wants to travel up the track. You let off the gas. You might let off a little bit too much. You go to stab back on it to maybe get your momentum back. Guess what? The rear end wants to meet you in the middle there. So you're right. I can see right here Chad Cole's trying to a little bit drive that thing. He's closing in on Trey Edson for the moment.
Yeah, he had a really good lap that last time by. He was almost 0.2 of a second quicker than Trey. So I'm going to take a look what it's looking like this time. Yeah, another about 0.2 there. So he's definitely reeling him in. So now it's just going to be trying to find that line he needs to take to try to take control of this lead and see if he can start setting the pace.
Watching right here out the windshield, Chad Cole, and watching Trey Edson's back end, you can see every time he goes into the turn, that thing is awful wiggly. So these guys have got their hands full right now with some machines, 16 laps into the run. I mean, you can just see Trey Edson, that thing is like weaving just a little bit. He's kind of trying to catch it. So he is definitely manhandling that machine out front right now. So good battle amongst those two.
Yeah, so you can see right there, Chad's trying to switch up the lines a little bit. Trey went all the way to the bottom, so Chad went and ran that middle line there. Should give him a little bit better momentum on the exit if he's able to stay in the throttle there. And trying to see, it looks like both running the same line there, but he gets a really good entry there, just able to hold the middle. Washes up a little bit on the exit compared to Trey, but yeah, he's got a really good handling truck. However, Justin Fuller there's not too far behind, ready to pounce if either of them make a mistake.
And I think it'll be a matter of time. We got to go back here to about the 9th on back spot. These guys have got a heck of a battle going on back here. There's Nick Silver, Chad Coleman, Sean Castro, E.J. O'Rourke. A lot of those guys, they're all stacked up on top of each other. Definitely duking it out back there. You see the number 30 machine right there of Brian Macklin. He's in the mix also, and Steve Goschop.
Yeah, so that's a pretty big gap.
Ooh, truck in the wall. Man, I thought there for the moment they were going to save it. Sean Castro, though, goes sliding off down in the pit road. No caution as of yet. But let's go back, and that was back in that pack that I was just talking about there, Gael. Let's go back and watch.
I want to say it started with the 93 of Kevin Brown. Looked like got really loose, kind of had to get on the brakes there. That caught Tommy Ryan, and then from there, yeah, just that's what Sean Castle kind of got the worst of it. But yeah, no yellow though. They're able to, for the most part, keep it all straight. So not the ideal situation there, especially for Sean Castle.
Yeah, the 99, like you said, went sliding off down in there, and then Sean Castor just got the worst end of that. Went sliding all the way through pit road. He got off the racing surface by no caution, got flew, but that was in that pack that we were watching there for the moment. And yeah, wow. And want to give a shout out there. I apologize, I got so caught up in a lot of the action here. I definitely want to remember something special here today. Today is 9/11. Definitely don't want to forget that, the tragic events that happened there, and so forth and so on. We're at lap 21, and Joey wanted me to stop around lap 9 and 11. I'm so caught up on all the action, but definitely don't want to forget any of that. I want to give a shout out and remember all the people there that day. All right, looks like Trey Edson has got passed by Chad Cole. Chad Cole is taking the lead over here for the moment. Wow.
Yeah, he was able, I'll say he hung on to it, but yeah, I was saying I echo your sentiments there. Yeah, I apologize for we did talk about earlier that we were going to kind of have a moment of silence there between lap 9 and 11, but just, yeah, these guys kind of caught our attention a little bit more than we expected, maybe, I'm not sure, but so apologize to Joey for that. But yeah, like you said though, Joe, just got to remember obviously everything that happened there, and just
Absolutely.
Keep everybody in our thoughts and prayers, and definitely a tough situation.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, definitely, just one of them tragic events, and we make it up here. Try to never forget there on that day, but definitely also want to we got a great race here. Definitely take some a bad time and make it a good time, so to speak. And right now, Chad Cole's having a good time out front.
Yeah, and we were worried about David Comstock there a few laps back, and he's already bounced back. He's already within a half a second of the lead. He's running some really fast lap times right now, so I think he was just taking really good care of his tires, and now he's really able to kind of make that run on these guys that maybe were pushing a little bit too hard early, because those top three have all separated themselves by about 2 seconds over the fourth place of Justin Fuller.
Well, you can already see a lot of these guys out here, a handful on the track. You see these trucks are becoming, man, sideways and every which way they can. Just a handful to manhandle around. Watch a Chad Coleman there in the 6th place spot. He's kind of losing a little bit. The leaders up there themselves. And we're only 25 laps in, and I think you said the pit window's about 30-some?
Yeah, I think they can do it on the 2-stop if they choose to. It just depends on if drivers want to have the tires versus the, if tires are more important than fuel at this point, so I'll have to wait and see on that front. I'm looking at the lap times. They've fallen off about 2 seconds, which isn't, to me, it doesn't seem that bad. To wait about 2 more laps or so. As I say that, though, Trey Edson decided he's going to go back after the lead here. He's got a really good run in 1 and 2. Looks like he'll clear him off entering 3.
And this is what I'm talking about as far as the momentum goes up front. With the tires like they are, it won't take much. But look who's back in the mix. David Comstock went back there. He's probably in tire save mode, and he's been able to pull back up front there, run down the top guys, and he is actually now in the mix to try to take his lead back. Let's see if he saved a little bit of tires. Chad Cole falls back to 3rd. Trey Edson takes over the top spot. Don't count out David right there on that outside lane.
Yeah, saying looks like Trey's going to give him that top line here entering 3. I think he knows that David's just that much faster. The fact that he chased him down that much that quickly, so doesn't want to do anything to risk himself. Otherwise, he gets really loose off 4, hangs onto it there, but like you talked about, he lost a lot of momentum right there. So that's going to put Chad back up in the 2nd here. And then, yeah, David Comstock takes the lead over again.
And that's just how it can happen so quickly right there as David Comstock takes the lead. Chad Cole up to 2nd. Anything can happen with these trucks being as wicked loose as they are right now. We're at lap 28 of 100. Been a very good run so far amongst these guys as the top 10 not far apart from each other here. You got Justin Fuller sitting in 4th, Chad Coleman 5th, Brian Macklin there in 6th, Ryan Howard to 7th, Nick Silver to 8th, J.D. Laird, he had just fallen all the way back, and I think he went to make a pit stop.
Yeah, so he's the first one to blink, it looks like.
Now, noticed he was falling out of the top 10 there, so that puts Nick Silver to 8, E.J. O'Rourke to 9, and Steve Goschalk up to 10.
Yeah, it's a really good run. The one I'm keeping an eye on is Brian Macklin, but also can't also ignore Chad Coleman, now running 5th and 6th, starting 13th and 21st respectively. So Macklin's made a really good run here without any aids of cautions or anything like that. So he looks like he's going to be one to contend with here at the end.
I talk about it week in and week out. Guys that are aggressive, guys that are patient, and guys that are very conservative. Tonight is going to pay dividends on a long green flag run to very conservative guys. If you're a very aggressive style driver, you might want to think about changing that, unless there's a lot of cautions that'll fly and that'll be in your favor, because this track, this tire, and the way that these things are handling is not going to benefit you. You're going to run those tires off of it and fall back, and I think that's what David did earlier. Just kind of fell back, was patient, came back to the front, and you can see he's pretty quick.
Yeah, so it's one of those things, take it easy early and then go after it. I know they've talked about it before, but he was a perfect example of that. Like I said, start on the pole, fell back to about the 6th or so position, enough for us to definitely recognize it. And then from there, just kind of waited until he was ready to go compared to these other guys, and just, yeah, he's just kind of set sail now.
So far, so good, as everybody's kind of single file for the moment. Comstock out front, Cole there in 2nd, Edson sitting in 3rd, Fuller up to 4th, and Coleman there in the 5th place spot. Watching this battle, Brian Macklin you was mentioned of right there. He's got Ryan Howard, but Brian is actually closing in on Chad Coleman.
Yeah, so as I went to go take a look at them as well, he's right there. And I think we're going to probably see pit stops in the next lap or two, I'd like to say, because I think they'll split it up pretty much right on the middle. So I think around lap 33, 34, that's probably when you're going to see these leaders start coming in.
Absolutely. You got guys that are, falling off the pace pretty good. Steve Goschalk down on pit road. He's going to opt to come in. He can probably get 4 tires and fuel. You're right. I think there's going to be a 2, if this goes green, and right now it has the premise of going kind of green for the moment. A lot of guys on pit road. There's Matthew Welzenbach, way back, marred back in traffic there, but he's coming off pit road himself.
Yeah, but I think I just saw Trey Edson dive in right now.
Well, we got 30 machines out here tonight. Second round of the chase here, Las Vegas Speedway, folks, for the WCIparts.com Truck Series. It has been a very, very entertaining race, and these guys have got their hands full all night long here with these trucks. But the way that the track is, and I just saw another truck just kind of go sliding off in the back there.
Say leaders and Dave Comstock. He's getting really loose. I don't know if he got down the speed or not. He was every way but straight right there, getting in the pits. So hopefully he was able to get down to the pit speed there. So that's going to put Chad back up in the lead for the moment. You're going to see brand new tires with Matthew Welzenbach right behind him. He's going to blow by here on the back stretch of those fresh tires.
Yeah, whoa, good slide job there by Dave Comstock. Went back on a replay and watched that one. Coming in on pit road, he was hot and heavy there. But again, with old tires, as slick as it is, that's the kind of things that they're going to have to be mindful of coming on pit road. Not going to be the easiest thing coming on and off pit road.
Yeah, so I'm watching a lot of these guys are definitely getting in there today. Chad had a pretty clean pit entry there. Say maybe not as fast as David's, but say a little less eventful, which I think he'll be more than content with right there, as long as they can hit their pit stalls.
Usually I'm mostly used to seeing the trucks out here kind of planted. Tonight, these guys, boy, they got their hands full.
Yeah, they really do. So they're earning it tonight. So I'm trying to take a look now and see how everything's starting to start cycling through, because Trey was the first one in, and I believe, So I'm trying to see where David Comstock is. I think he may have actually had a pit penalty there. I'm going to have to go back and take a look.
He came in, now he had a 14.3 second stop, 39.7 actually a whole pit stop there, so he looked pretty clean. Showing him in third right now.
Okay, yeah, so maybe I haven't caught up then.
Yeah, actually, and I think Justin Fuller now on pit road is that'll bring the leader down. That should bring Jason Barham and Jeff Ryan as the only two left to make a pit stop out here, and that should cycle it around to that man David Comstock back to the lead here as he pitted earlier, short pitted. That might be the thing that'll help him out.
Oh, okay, yeah. So no, actually, what happened was something actually happened to Trey on his pit stop because it looks like he's lost a lot of track position. So he may have had something happen on his stop. That's what set him back.
Well, he's got, like right now, Trey Edson, he had a 29-second pit stop. So he evidently had a penalty involved in there somehow. Looking at the time that he had for his actual stop. So usually 29 seconds, unless just one of his pit crew fell asleep during changing tires. That's usually a penalty.
Yeah, so hopefully they were all awake. So yeah, maybe he got in a little bit too hot. Maybe he was speeding on entry. So I think if you speed on entry, you get held at the pits. Whereas if it's on exit, then you have to do a drive-through. So yeah, I think you're right. He must have got a little bit hot on entry and probably had to get held for 10 seconds or something like that.
And
10, 15 seconds.
Gael, I think that a lot of these guys were pushing the envelope there to the end. We saw a lot of guys slipping and sliding coming in on pit road, trying to get these things woed down. On old tires, they don't stop as easy.
Between Comstock and Jimmy North there. That was close call. Jimmy's sliding and entering the pits. I don't know if it's going to bring out a yellow, and he's right in front of Jeff Ryan too.
Go back on the replay and watch what happened here. David Comstock, he's still running, so let's see what happened. Yeah, the 48. Oh, yeah, just looks like he was slowing down to come in. Comstock had a load of speed coming in there, just a few. I don't know if that contact might hurt the aero on that truck. Later on is something that we'll have to definitely keep an eye on.
Yeah, so it definitely looks like it has some right side damage to it. So, yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that one. Check his lap times as well.
Well, I know actually Chad Cole and him are probably up there cheering. Now, I can maybe get run him down a little bit. They're not too far back, 2.4 seconds, but you're right. We'll have to look at the times and see if that actually does hurt him a little bit out here on the track. Sometimes just the slightest of contact, hey, that can mess up the nose and mess up your whole night.
Yeah.
J.D. Laird, though, I don't know if you noticed that right there, Gael. Look at his side of his truck. That thing is all tore up.
Oh, wow.
I don't know where he got that contact from, but boy, yeah.
A ton of right front damage.
That is definitely going to hurt him. He's way off the pace, 32.8. As you see, Steve Goschalk right there in the 5th place spot. But yeah, J.D. Laird somewhere smacked the wall hard or something. He wasn't like that before the pit stops.
Yeah, that's a lot of right front damage. That's definitely not going to be one that's. Yeah, I went back. I just actually found it. So around lap 27, he got loose in turn 2 and just popped the wall really hard. Wow. So yeah, that's a lot of damage. I'll say that's going to open the door here, obviously, for Steve Gottschalk. He's got some fresher tires as well, but his truck looks really clean, so that's going to bump him up now into the 4th position. So a really good run here for Steve as well. I think he's been kind of taking care of his stuff and trying to just, kind of pick him off as you can.
Yep, absolutely. Steve Goschalk moves up into 4th place, matter of fact. The 46 there, JD, a lot of damage. And, there's something about this track here. A lot of times doesn't bring a lot of cautions, but, does bring a lot of smack in the wall.
Yes, and I think a lot of it's just there's a lot of room for these trucks to move towards the bottom of the track. So, we had a couple what could have and should have maybe been yellows, but they went down into the grass or into the pit entry or things like that, backstretch maybe. So iRacing kind of just looks for on the track. So yeah, I think that kind of opened it up for it to stay green here.
One of very few tracks, though, that they can do that here on iRacing. It's not like in the real one that they would throw a caution, but you've had such a runoff here with the apron and the grass and so forth, so on. If you're off the racing surface like you just mentioned there, it won't throw a caution here on iRacing, and this is one of the few. I mean, there's several other tracks that might do it, but this is one of those that if you are off on the racing surface, it won't. So that's why a lot of times you have long green flags, and what that does is it brings pit strategies into it. The problem with it is, like you said, these guys are only looking at one more pit stop. So what do? Do you short pit? Do you long pit it? Do you try a 2-tire stop? I don't know, with the way these trucks are, 2 tires is going to benefit. But then again, if you can get far enough out, track position might help.
Yes, and I've seen kind of multiple strategies where like talk about short pitting to try to jump them in the pits there, but then also I've seen where people stay out a few extra laps. That way they have those fresh tires at the end and they can kind of push that little bit extra. So there's a lot of different strategies. I've seen some people kind of treat it like that, like a road course, where as soon as you're in your window, you pit. But with the track as lucid as this tonight, like I'm always scared to pit early just because I'm afraid of a caution pinning me a lap down.
Absolutely. You know, it's a fine line. It's a gamble, and that's why we're here at Las Vegas. It's the gambling city here. So you definitely got to take a gamble on the track and the pits to try to get that win as we're almost halfway home here. You see Chad Coleman working over JD. He is just going to fall back. Now, we go back to where we saw the damage on JD's truck. Remember David Comstock earlier got in that contact. He is actually, you know, he's been able to every once in a while maintain speed, but Chad Cole is a tick faster than him. So I'm just wondering if maybe that damage on the front of his truck is hindering him just a little bit.
Yeah, I'm sure he's probably not driving. It's probably not driving as well as he'd like it to. I am noticing though there are a lot of trucks with a little bit of damage on the right side. Justin Fuller's got a little bit on his right front on the 51 machine, and like you, of course, we mentioned with Tommy Ryan has some as well due to that incident on the front stretch, which he just had nowhere to go. He's got a lot of right front damage as well, like you had mentioned also. With
height.
Yeah, so it's going to tighten things up a lot on these guys, but so there is a fair amount of trucks that have that little bit of right front damage. Yeah, JD is definitely, I think he has the most damage of the group right now. As you can see, like he was running really well, and that's really hurt him.
I'm watching Justin Fuller right here. Even though with the damage, you know, he's coming out through the tri-oval right there, and that truck's just wanting to step out from under them. They are battling some wicked loose machines here tonight on a treacherous track conditions. So even though if it is tight, and that's usually where the right side damage, to get up there, bump the wall a little bit, the truck kind of travels up the track. They are got their hands full coming out of the turns with these things.
I'll say maybe the getting some right side damage is actually a strategy to tighten those trucks up a little bit. You never know.
Hey, you know, and there you go. Sometimes it could be, you know, a risk versus reward type of thing. See, E.J. O'Rourke's closing in on the back end of Justin Fuller there. Be a battle for actually the 5th place spot. We'll see if E.J. can take it over. But you're right. I mean, that small kind of damage could actually tighten that truck up just enough that it might help them out on the long run. Short run might not be able to with the newer tires, but on the long run, it actually might benefit them.
I'll say I think I'll probably have a few of the drivers like, yeah, even what you're talking about, but
yeah,
I mean, you got to throw the potential out there, right? So
you got to throw all scenarios.
EJ's definitely been running him down. He's got some pretty fresh tires as well. It's like he pitted a lap or two later than the leaders did. Fuller actually waited even a few more laps than them. He's got 15 on his tires, whereas the others are around 17 to 20 range.
And that might just show you right there, though, Gael, even though the difference in, you know, 2 laps in the tires, that damage, we're talking about it, the effectiveness of it right there. EJ's on older tires, but he's able to close in on Fuller.
Yeah, so, and I think it does show because you have, I think Steve Goschak was one of the first to pit of that lead group right now, and he's actually been running around like low 33s, whereas the rest of the group in his area are kind of in the high 32s. So I think that's definitely played a role for them as well, because I say as EJ's trying to catch Fuller's trying to catch Steve at the moment.
And actually, E.J. O'Rourke's looking very, very good right now. He's closing in on the back end of Justin Fuller. He's going to try to take the high lane. as that's where the momentum line is as of right now, and he's got that WCIparts.com machine rolling. Title sponsor here tonight for Las Vegas. Round 2 of the chase here for these guys in the WCIparts.com Truck Series. Good race here so far, Las Vegas. These guys are battling some wicked handling machines so far tonight, but David Comstock still out front. He's got a 1.4 second lead over Chad Cole.
Yeah, he's doing a really good job even with that right side damage from the incident. As I mentioned, here comes Fuller and EJ. Both kind of looks like they're going to go after Steve there. I think Steve just kind of let him go and whoa, Fuller gets really loose off too. He's going to hang on to it, it looks like.
Wow.
Wow.
Back on the replay and watch that one more time, because that's a driving job right there. That was a wreck. That pretty much was a wreck, and he just saved it. But that truck, just to show you how slick it is, came right out from under him. I think the wall might have helped him a little bit, but good heads up by Steve Goschalk and company back there, Chad Coleman, and not run him over either, as he tried to get down on the inside and get away from those guys. But wow, what a heads up driving job by all those guys, and a heck of a driving job by Justin.
Yeah, that was like, so that's a wreck that didn't happen. So it kind of burned Steve a little bit because he had to really get on the brakes not to run him over. So really heads up driving by him to stay off of him there. But yeah, so that kind of let Brian Macklin and Chad Coleman kind of get by him without any of a fight there. So I mean, let's say he's not too far away from his next pit stop. I think he'll probably be in about the next, let's see, probably about 5-10 laps or so.
Absolutely. I tell you, from right there, and then just from what I saw, looked like Justin, who made the pass on the inside, maybe just overdrove it, and that truck just would not handle 19 laps on the tires, and it just came out from up under him.
Yeah, so when you kind of had to change your line, I think he ran a little bit of a different position than he was running on track earlier, and so yeah, it just kind of throws off your where like you need to get on the throttle and kind of the steering angle and all that, and just looked like it just snapped on him basically.
You know, I've watched Justin Fuller, and I even watch him in the Cup car, and I watch him in several other ones, and he is fighting that car week in and week out. He's just one of those, it seems like he likes that thing on the ragged edge, and me as when I used to race, no, I didn't like that, but Justin is that way. He's one of the more aggressive style drivers, and this track tonight's just not, like I said before, it's not going to play in the hands of those guys if it goes on long green flag runs.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, the fact that it looks like it just progressively gets looser and looser, so yeah, you're right. Even the guys that are being pretty gentle on their tires and on their trucks, I mean, you still see them, like, they kind of get a handful of wheel there at times just trying to get it back together, so yeah, if you're wheeling it like he usually does, it's going to probably get really loose on you, because some of these guys definitely have a habit of driving off that right rear tire.
David Comstock right now has been able to hold on to the lead. He's got a 1.2 second over Chad Cole. We should start seeing pit stops here pretty soon. There are about 25 laps. I'm going to say within the next 5 laps or so, these guys will start coming in. Like you said, that'll put them within the window of just one more time.
Yes, I think they're really close to it. It depends on how long a fuel run actually is. So, as Brian Macklin just caught the wall a little bit there off of turn 4, it's going to let Chad Coleman sneak by here. And so I noticed Brian has actually a little bit of left front damage, so I think he's going to have a little bit of right front to kind of go along with it now.
Like his
as well.
whole nose is kind of crunched. Maybe he got in the back end of somebody.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. Maybe he's entering the pits or something like that, because we saw how busy that got earlier.
I was watching that replay right there where you mentioned he got into the wall, just a little scuff coming out, truck got a little tight, got up there, slid off of it, threw some sparks there, but enough to allow Chad Coleman to get around. He's been out there, Brian Macklin, for 25 laps. David's been out for 27. You know, if they pit now, you're looking at 38 laps. Oh,
yeah, I think they're going to go a few more then.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you're going to see him pit around probably 66 to 68 range for David and Chad and them. I think they're going to try to split it kind of just like right in the middle like they did that first time.
Well, you know, it has been caution-free. Cross our fingers here. It's been a very good, interesting race so far for race 2 of the chase at Las Vegas tonight. But you always got to keep in the back of your mind as we're coming down, you know, and Las Vegas brings about pit strategy, fuel strategies a lot of times. I mean, many a times in real NASCAR, this place just brings about that kind of style racing. But you still got to think about it as close as we are. If they pit with 30 to go, and even with 29 to go, that's going to put them close. You got to think about the green, white, checkered at the end if it happens.
That's actually a really good point. Yeah, usually you kind of just plan for just exactly what you needed to make it, but yeah, now you got to plan for a potential of like 2 to 3 more laps on a tank of fuel. But as we were talking about that, though, Chad Cole's actually got to about 0.6 of a second now behind David. I think David's starting to get really loose with his truck. Saw him a lap or two go off of turn 2. He was just kind of hanging on to it. Same thing, you could see the hands on the wheel. He was just sawing at it to keep it where he needed it to be.
At this moment right now, I think all these guys are in, like you just said, conservative mode. They know what they need to do to make it the rest of the way. We're 65 laps in. That would still put 35 laps on here, obviously without a green, white checker, but 35 laps. That is still out of, I almost say it's still out of the window because we're only been 29 laps since the last run, and you can just see how much these guys are manhandling. They probably could take it 35 laps, but boy, these things are going to be so loose that they're going to be screaming at, everybody.
Yeah, so I think they're just, at this point, I think they're just going as far as they dare to until they start just like, okay, I can't hang on to this thing anymore. Yeah, I think we'll probably see David and Chad here in the next couple laps. So say we're on lap 66 now, so I could see next time by one of them coming in. Especially, I mean, they almost have a 10-second lead right now on the third place truck of Nick Silver, so they could probably be pretty close to making a pit stop without losing that second lap to the guys behind them. And that's obviously a big thing too. We talked about not wanting to get caught out by a bad timed caution. And yeah, it looks like Steve Gottschalk's the first one to bite of that top 10 too. So I think it's about the same. Him and Fuller are both in the pits right now. So I think it's about the same as that last run. I think they're a little bit earlier here.
Got a couple of them. They've been out there for 32, 31 laps. My question here is, it's still 67 laps. That would put them within about 33 to run it. They're getting close to being able to do just one time. I know you said they're far away from Nick Silver there, but do you take that gamble and maybe running out towards the end? I mean, we're watching Chad Cole from his window here, and you're right, he is manhandling that machine.
Yeah, and just a bunch of them just came in right now, like Nick Silver, E.J. O'Rourke, Trey Edson. So a lot of the leaders are pitting. It looks like Chad's actually going to pit one lap earlier than David this time. It was the other way around the last time by.
Good strategy.
Yeah, he's going to see if he can jump him on a short pit here.
Wow, pit stops here for a lot of guys out front. Definitely something to be mindful of.
No, it's a good strategy to try. I mean, he got to that half second, then from there he kind of was stalled. So he just needs to get a good pit entry, pit exit, make sure he hits his marks here. Oh, looks like he overshot his stall just a little bit there. So we'll have to see if that plays into it. I mean, that probably cost him, I'd say, maybe half a second to a second. But when he was only half a second behind David, that's could be all that matters. I'll say David hits his marks right there. He had to deal with a little bit of traffic entering his pit stall. But he hit his marks really well for the pit board. May have lost a little bit of time just in the pits itself. So now the key thing is going to be to see where he comes out now in relation to Chad. So that's going to be the critical one right now. Say he leaves the pit stall. I'm going to try to check where Chad is on track. He's just about to enter one. I think it's going to be really close, actually. So he's keeping an eye on him right now. Says David's still getting up to speed. And Chad's kind of at full song, about probably 20, 30 miles an hour more. I think David's going to just hang on to that lead if he can get this momentum up. Right now, Chad's going to push really hard in 3 and 4. He's right to his tailgate here. He's going to look to the top side, see if he can make something happen here. So right now, they're side by side for the lead with the 42 and the 82. I think that really close right now entering turn 1. But yeah, I think just Chad unfortunately overshooting his pit stall that little bit is enough to make that difference right there of him being in, right now fighting for a lead versus he probably would have had the lead otherwise. So now it's just about momentum. It looks like Chad's just able to clear David. It looks like off 4, so it's going to put the 82 up here in the front now. David has a little bit of right front damage from that earlier contact when one of the drivers was making their pit stop. So we'll just see if that affects him. And then now it's also just going to be kind of, I think they're going to be pacing each other basically to who's going to run how hard, just to see who kind of to save the tires for the end, because yeah, okay, you can build up maybe a 2nd or 2-second lead, but if you burn off that right rear tire, you're not going to be able to do anything at the end when David will likely make a charge there. So still a few people to make their pit stops. Jason Barham's still on track, so he's right now actually the leader. Brian Macklin stayed out until just now. He's in the pits currently, so that's going to cycle things a little bit more. And then so once that all cycles through, it looks like it'll be Chad and David obviously 1 and 2. And then Nick Silver will be in 3rd, and Trey Edson's recovered well from his penalty, and he'll be back up into the 4th position, it looks like. So he's trying to take a look at the lap times and everything here to see where everything's cycling out. Yeah, so that puts Chad right now back into the lead, and David in 2nd this time by here. I'm waiting for the rest to cycle through here. I apologize for the delay on that one. But it just goes to show, though, the pit strategy of short pitting, see if we can get that undercut on them. I know it's really popular in Formula 1, but I mean, you'll see it here in NASCAR, especially when you got tracks that have the tire fall off, especially at places like Atlanta. It's kind of the get a couple, you're about two seconds a lap faster or so once you get on those new tires. All right, we are getting it updated. Here we go. Okay, so yeah, so Nick Silver is 3rd. Same thing, about 9.5, 10 seconds back. Trey Edson in 4th. Chad Coleman 5th. And then Ryan Howard in 6th. Trying to take a look, see where the rest of the top 10 are. You have Brandon Bowie in 7th. EJR Work in 8th. Steve Gottschalk in 9th. And Justin Fuller in 10th. And again, they're all within about that 2-lap range or so on their tires, between basically about lap 7 to lap 9, or not, about 7 to 9 laps on their tires since their last pit stop. Brian Macklin stayed out a fair bit longer, so I think he could actually make a really big charge on probably about the top 5 with his fresh tire. So that's going to be one to keep an eye on towards the end of this run here. But yeah, Chad has not been able to get rid of David Comstock. He's just sitting on his bumper, on his tailgate right now. I think probably just seeing if he can maybe pressure him into mistakes, save his stuff a little bit. Because I mean, we still got over 20 laps to go here, so I think if it stays green like it is, it's going to be obviously a fight between these two, because you've got that 3rd place car, or 3rd place truck, I should say, about 10 seconds back. But I mean, yeah, you can see David, though, he's just right on him right now, just trying to force him into a mistake here. Saying, looking at lap times, just gives some idea of what's going on here. Oh, as they get really close there, Jonathan Lockhart putting him a lap down there. Really close call there. Luckily, they're both able to get through cleanly. So right now the leaders are running high 31s right now, whereas pretty much actually from 3rd on back are in the 32s. So Chad and David are just putting on a clinic right now. The other 2 that are in the 31 still are Brian Macklin and Steve Ritter. They're again with slightly fresher tires than the leading group, but yeah, it's a really good fight right now between those top 2 for the lead.
Oh yeah, I see that. Well, right now, Chad Cole with that pit that he did was able to get out in front of him there, but they're only 1 lap difference in tires, and hey, we're getting on 20 laps to go here.
Yeah, say that little overshoot by Chad made it that much more difficult for him. So he had to really work the top side, because he was able to catch David, but then he had to really work them. They pretty much got side by side off of turn 4, and it took him about a lap or so. Just was able to use that momentum to get by. But yeah, had he not overshot his pit stall, I think he would have had it easily clear. But Chad actually we talked about the pressure that David was putting on him, and saying it just worked right there. Say Chad made a mistake, got into the wall off of 2. He's got a decent little bit of right front damage now as well on his truck, so he's going to have to gather that thing back up, see if he can wheel it back up to David or not. But say that was, yeah, I mean, that's got now over a second lead again for David Comstock. So he did a really good job pressuring Chad into a mistake there.
Just went back and watched that replay there for the viewers, and just, you're right, just drove it up into the wall, just what we were talking about all race long. Tight, and now David Comstock takes back over the top spot again. Boy, Gael, it's been a very good one here for race 2 of the chase. Now, a question. Leading the chase at this moment right now. I need to bring up the points and see.
So, yeah, so the top 3 actually are almost 1, 2, 3 on track again. I say David Comstock was leading Chad by 3 points going into this race, and then Trey Edson was 7 points out of the lead. And so Trey right now is actually working on Nick Silver for that 3rd position. So I say he's just about half a second, it looks like, behind him. So it's pretty close that those top 3 points are going to be 1, 2, 3 on track here. And Trey's done a really good job recovering from that first pit stop penalty.
Absolutely. And you're right, Trey Edson's closing in the gap there on Nick Silver, the number 15 machine, for 3rd. So, if he's able to get around him, like you said, the top 3 in points will be the top 3 on the track right now. And that's going to make this battle for the chase that much more interesting, because there's not going to be much room for error.
No, I said there really isn't. I mean, they're all, I say you've got right now from the lead, you've got the top 12 are only 31 points out of the lead. So, I mean, that's pretty much what you have right now in the field. So if you, let's say the guy leading the points finished last, and then 12th finished first, they would pretty much swap spots right now. So it's less than a race difference for most of these drivers right now. But I think at this point, yeah, that damage Chad got was really, really hurting his truck now. So he's definitely dropped down now. He's running in the 33s, whereas everybody else is in the 32s. So I'll say he's got a pretty good buffer over 3rd place, where he can probably limp it home to 2nd place finish if it stays green. But yeah, it's definitely not going to be. He definitely has some other plans for tonight.
Absolutely. So right now, Trey Edson, he is right there closing in on Nick Silver for the 3rd place spot. We've got a 15 to go in this one here tonight. Las Vegas Speedway has been a good race for race 2 of the chase for the WCIparts.com Truck Series, Sim500 style. David Comstock here, Chad Cole, Nick Silver trying to hold on to 3rd, but Trey Edson's there. Ron Howard up to 5th. Chad Coleman there in 6th. Brandon, I'll say his last name, Buey?
So I was guessing Bowie. I could be
Bowie?
completely wrong. I think he's a new guy to the league, which is good to see. I say it's always nice to see some new faces join the series. I know Joey's been working really hard at trying to pick up some new guys. I said they've got a really good group of dedicated drivers, but it's always nice to get some fresh blood in here sometimes.
And doing outstanding. Started 19th, up to 7th place. So there you go. Some stiff competition on this track. And hey, it's always good. Like I say, check out Sim500.com, folks, if you're looking to get into a good league. They got a winter series coming up, Joe Gibbs Racing thing coming up. They got next season here. Still got to finish out the 3 series here, Xfinity Cup and the Truck Series. Always some good style racing. And they got a couple other series there that they run too. But check them out there, Sim500.com. And I want to give a shout out to all the sponsors too at WCIparts.com, Trans Service, Englishtown Auto, Kick-Ass Beef Jerky. I mean, all these guys coming on board here to do their sponsors.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, I say it's thanks to them that we're able to do this in the first place. So yeah, really big thanks to all the sponsors that are here. And yes, as we're talking, Trey Edson's able to get that 3rd position back from Nick Silver. So the top 3 in points are now running top 3 on track again. It kind of shows you why they were top 3 in the points. I'd say because, yeah, it's a really good recovery again, like I mentioned, for Trey Edson. I'm keeping an eye on Brian Macklin. He's worked his way up to the 9th position. He's got those fresher tires, and he's got at least 3 trucks that are within just like maybe 2 or so seconds of him, with E.J. O'Rourke, Brandon Bowie, and Chad Coleman. So I said he still has a chance to try to get a top 5 finish with his pit strategy, where we talked about short pitting first, running it a little bit later, try to get those fresh tires at the end.
You know, right there, I was watching E.J. O'Rourke there and Brandon and all them in that area. And JD Laird, obviously, in a lap down, that truck still ill handling on him. Caught the field there, and they had to bunch up. Almost a wreck happened, but luckily everybody was able to get around that.
Yeah, so there's a fair bit of strategy on who's got fresher tires than others, and so I saw at one point, I'm trying to remember what truck it was now. Oh, it was Jonathan Lockhart. He just blew by a couple of these trucks while like they were standing still, and I was like, oh man, what is going on? I was like, then I looked at the lap counter. I was like, oh, okay, he's on fresh tires right now.
Well, the thing with Brian Macklin also there on a lot newer tires on about, I'd say anywhere between 3 and 4 laps newer. Like I say, Dwayne Vincent, Jason Barham, Steve Ritter on a little bit newer tire, so might help them as we got 9 to go. This one is coming to a close, and David Comstock 6-second lead. The one thing that he does not want to see is what he saw Monday night, and that's a caution. He doesn't want that to happen, and let Chad Cole have one more shot at him.
Yeah, because I think Chad's got enough damage right now where, yeah, he, at this point, like I said, he's just kind of limping into the finish. I think if he can get out of here with that second place finish after the damage he got racing for the lead, I think he won't be happy about it, but he'll kind of get the best you can, move on to the next segment, ideally. But yeah, so he'll definitely be kind of regretting that one. But again, like I said, it was a really good job by David keeping that pressure on him, just try to force him into a mistake, and that's what he was able to do. And so, I mean, Chad still got, like I said, he's still got about 6 seconds or so, 7 seconds on Trey. And like we said, with just about 10 laps to go here, I think he'll be in pretty good shape. But yeah, I think right now, David's probably the only one who's not looking for a yellow, but I could definitely see everybody else rooting for one right now. But yeah, these guys have done a really good job tonight. It's been a couple of close calls. But again, these guys are just, yeah, they're wheeling these trucks tonight.
Absolutely. It has been a treacherous style track here, and Trey Edson right there is trying to hang on to third as Nick Silver's just not wanting to give up. He's right there on his back deck lid to try to see if he can't get it here. That's probably one of the closest battles we got on the track so far, as David Comstock is just checking out for the moment. Chad
my
Cole,
goodness.
but man, what a close race between
we're
third.
going to have a caution right here. What we just talked about. So there's a wreck on the backstretch with the 1. He got caught by the 30, who was trying to react to EJ getting really loose, but looks like they actually stayed down to the apron, so I don't think they're going to bring the yellow out. But yeah, that was the yellow that didn't happen there between the 41 and the 1 and the 30.
Let's go and watch the replay here, see what happened. Yeah, Brandon, we were just talking about him, and he was right there in the mix between. They were 3 wide for the moment, and it had a slight nose in there on the bottom. And I think he just caught the apron. Oh no, EJ got loose out of the turn, checked him up, and then the 30 got into the back end of him, sent him around hard into the inside wall, and will end his night. It's basically just racing right there. EJ just got very wiggly. Brandon had nowhere to do but check up, and the 30 just momentum carried him right into the back end, and wham.
Yeah, so that's really bad luck for the 1 truck there. He was having a really good night, and just, yeah, he tried to, it's just kind of like you said, just a reaction of like, okay, he got into the back of EJ a little bit, and then the 30 got into the back of him. Just with that big checkup, when you're getting off the turn 2, you're kind of at full song there. So yeah, really bad deal for him. Hopefully he'll be back next week and put on another strong showing though.
They did very well here tonight. Just no fault of his, really no fault of anybody. Just right there, just one of them wrong place, wrong time, and a racing deal. Just had to check up, and racing, everything happened so quickly here. But Las Vegas, 4 laps to go for the man out front, David Comstock, who's got an 8.7 second lead. Again, one thing he's probably crossing his fingers on, don't send a caution out. I've got a huge lead here tonight. I've done everything I needed to do. He's looking for the sweep here this week. 1 here on Monday. Oh, Richard out there, man, is pulling for him. Got that racingbids.com machine rolling right now.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure he breathed a huge sigh of relief, and then I'm sure, yeah, all of his fans and sponsors like, oh, okay, good. Let's just get to the white flag, and then you guys can do whatever you want.
Absolutely. Chad Cole sitting there in second, and if I know Chad, usually week in and week out, he always says, I don't like the car, I don't like the track, I don't feel comfortable. Well, you should like tonight. I mean, just one little mishap, but you know, a lot of guys have had that mishap here tonight. Still an outstanding run by him, and it's going to keep these points close. That's the thing there, Gael, is if these guys keep finishing and running like they're running, this points, by the time we get down to the last race of the season, are going to be a shootout, and it's going to be close.
Yes, and that's what I think Chad just needs to think about. It's like, okay, this is a really good finish. This might even lock you in on points to the next, into the top 12 for the next segment. So I think that's going to be kind of what he needs to take away from it. And then, of course, like, okay, I need to minimize mistakes in the future races like that. That way he can take something from it. As I say that, though, David Comstock just took the white flag here. So one more time around for the 42 truck.
One more time for the final time for the man right there in the 42 machine. He's off to the back stretch down for the final time here as he's coming. He has done an outstanding job all night long. Led 60 laps of the 100 in turn 3. Last time, David Comstock. As long as he can let it cruise control right now, and he's going to put it in victory lane and win tonight the WCIparts.com Truck Series here at Las Vegas.
Yeah, that was a really good job by David, kind of recovering from that damage he had early on, and just kind of took his time and then of course though he had to really work on Chad, and he was able to do it, force him into a mistake, and Chad's able to hold on to second place though. Trey Edson's able to grab third with Nick Silver pressuring him there right behind on fourth. But yeah, only a few more laps though, I think, and Trey would have had a chance at Chad Coles. He only finished about 2 seconds back of him. So, and then you've got Ryan Howard in fifth place, rounding out that top 5.
Yeah, very, very good run, and I know a lot of these guys are probably just sigh of relief because this track was just a handful from the beginning here tonight. Not a lot of times you see that, but wow.
Yeah, these guys had to earn it tonight. They were working it.
Can't get a few of these guys up here and get a word in with them.
Yeah, so I'm trying to see if I can find all. Looks like they're all here, so I'm working on grabbing them now as well.
All right. Well, let's bring up the third place man, Trey Edson. Let you get a word in with him there, Gael.
Sounds good, sir. Say, caught up here with Trey Edson in the number 40 Chevrolet. I say it looks like he got caught out a little bit on that first pit stop, but other than that, though, I mean, you had a huge recovery there to get back up to that third position. But I say maybe take us through your night a little bit.
Yeah, you pretty much summed it up. I felt like I was pretty equal with David. I kind of burnt my stuff up the first run, and you saw how he kind of caught us really quick and left us. He did a better job of saving, but the remainder of the race, I feel like I did a better job, and I was kind of mirroring his lap times. We're teammates, so I was giving him some mess right there at the end. I lost about 13 seconds, and I had a 15-second pit road penalty. So I told him, I was like, well, I would have won by 2 seconds. So it is what it is. Yeah, I knew once we got inside the last fuel run window there, I really didn't want to. I kind of ran Howard, Coleman, EJ, Macklin. They were in like a little group, and I had caught them. And I kind of thought I don't really want to start racing them and lose a bunch of time, so I think I pitted a lap or two before them. Got on pit road really good and got off pit road really good. So I put a 4-second gap. I went from a second behind them to 4 seconds ahead of them. So then I had a pretty good race with Nick there at the end. Get third, so that's a good recovery, especially in the middle of a chase here. I was kind of worried I was going to finish behind a bunch of the chase guys right there when I first got the penalty, but to go caution free and have a pit road speed penalty and end up third, I can't really complain at all.
Yeah, I'd say it was a really good recovery. How did the track feel? I mean, it looked like you guys had a pretty good handful there. I don't know if it was like a pushing loose or was just loose overall, or I'd say how did it feel there? As I'd say the track temps were pretty warm.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. It's kind of a combo of both. The truck would kind of land and it wouldn't plow, but it just kind of had that tight feeling to it. And then the front end would start working. and the rear end would want to come around with it. So, and then you add the hot track, which that's probably the hottest track I've ever driven on iRacing. So, I just kind of pinned it to the bottom, tried to stay smooth with the gas. I kind of would pick the gas up because so it wouldn't upset the truck. Because if you jump in the gas, it'll do all kinds of things. So I kind of would keep a little bit of throttle in it, keep it kind of stable, and just kind of hold like a 50% throttle all the way around the corner until I was confident it wasn't going to do anything crazy under me. So, but tire wear was huge. That was kind of fun to see some comers and goers. That last, not the very final, I guess the middle run, I oversaved and Ryan Howard gapped me pretty good. He was on newer tires, so I thought that was just it. And then I ran him back down before green flag. We were having come back for green flag pit stops, so it was cool to see tire wear matter. That's some places we go. You can run it qualifying laps the whole run, and I just kind of like comers and goers. I usually do a good job of saving tires, so I like races like this.
Yes, I mean, it obviously showed because you're able to recover, like I said, all the way through a full green run. No benefit of the cautions to get back to third. So yeah, I'm in agreement with you. I love these ones where it's more in the driver's hands with managing tires and temps and all that. So before we let you go, though, I want to give you an opportunity. Any shout outs or things you'd like to give, though?
Yeah, thank you, Joe, man. Y'all, it's kind of a late season jump on board here to cover our races, but we appreciate it. Glad to have you guys back, or at least Joe. Glad to have Joe back. Gael, you've been here for a little while. Joey, he's doing a great job with the league. He's got a bunch of fun ideas. We've been kind of bouncing back and forth for next year, so I'm looking forward to it. He's doing a great job. I love being a part of this league. And Kick-Ass Beef Jerky, they sponsor the Xfinity Series, which runs on Sunday. I don't get to race that series that much, but they're on the quarter panels of my truck, so I try to put on a good show for them on Wednesdays. And just got to give a shout-out to the admins. I think it's Nick and Sean. I believe that's who runs the truck series now. Setups like this, when it's loose as all get out, and then you gotta kind of baby it. We really put on great races. We usually go caution free, and it's because you can't just hold it to the floor and be on top of each other and drive like morons like we do on Mondays. So if the admins are listening, the harder you make it drive, the better the races are. So I'll get out of you guys' way and let you interview Chad, and hope you guys have a great evening.
Thank you, Trey. So yeah, good interview there from the number 40 Silverado of Trey Edson with the Kick-Ass Beef Jerky sponsor. Another good run for him. I'll say that's probably going to solidify his top 3 in the championship there going on to that next round after next week.
Absolutely there, Trey, looking very good. And, he kind of, like you said, summed it up there. Guys were having a hard time all night long hanging on to him. But let's bring this guy up here, Chad Cole. Let's get a word in with him. Second place man.
Yeah, I got the number 82 Sears Diehard throwback truck of Chad Cole. So it was a pretty exciting run there with you and David, and I was commenting that I think he was trying to just kind of keep the pressure on you and maybe try to force you into a mistake. And I'll say only a couple laps later until you caught that wall off of 2, and it looked like that was just truck didn't want to turn afterwards. But I'll say, tell us about that battle and just the race overall.
Yeah, it was a really enjoyable setup tonight, being a little bit on the loose side. And yeah, you're exactly right. We're kind of just maintaining after that final pit stop, and David amped the pressure up, and I crossed the line just a little bit. So we caught the wall pretty good, but somehow managed to get second there. Really kind of bittersweet to be able to talk to you guys. It's been a while, but I really enjoyed Vegas. Felt like could have done a little bit better tonight.
Yeah, we were watching your strategy. Unfortunately, have to call it out. You overshot the pit stall a little bit on that final stop, which probably cost you about maybe a second or so on David. Made you have to work that little bit harder to get around him when you short pitted on him. So I don't know if that played a role. And I think David may have had a little bit of right front damage as well when he had some contact with one of the other drivers was trying to make a pit entry there. So I don't know if you were able to see that from your truck or not, but. Yeah, so I kind of figured it'd be a bittersweet one for you there.
Yeah, I did see David and Jimmy get together there, and I think Jimmy was trying to pit and didn't quite call it out soon enough, which it's tough at these tracks to get down and really need to have your head on a swivel so you get everyone enough notice to get down there. And yeah, just a pit road mistake on my part, which is kind of par for the course lately. I think I had 2 on Monday night. So I don't know what the deal is. Just getting in a little too hot. I need to stop giving away that free time, and it's really tough. If you're gonna do it, I guess do it under green so you don't hurt yourself so much. But it's tough. I got to give a shout out to the folks at WCI Parts for everything they do. David, I mean, that was a hell of a run he had tonight, and racing with Trey, it's always fun when you can rub elbows with those guys. Feel like you accomplished something. And you folks at OSRN for the broadcast, we really appreciate everything you guys do.
Yeah, you two are put on a good show there. You had about a 10-second gap over third at one point in that race. So yeah, you guys were put on a clinic there. So as I mentioned to Joe, it's like, I mean, you're only 2 races into the chase, but the top 3 points are the top 3 in the standings. So I say you can probably shake this one off, maybe learn from the mistakes a little bit. That way you can kind of nail it down for those races coming up where it's a little bit more important down the road.
Yeah, there's the old saying that you never lose, you either win or learn. So we learned tonight, and we'll put that one in the memory bank and try to fix everything up for next week, or wherever we're at. I'm not sure. I'm sure it's a 1.5-mile track somewhere.
Yeah, so I don't have the calendar on me either, so I can't help you there. I apologize. But I'll say you already got the shout outs on the sponsors, so I don't even have to do that part of it. They say you may have missed a few, but you've still got it down pat. So say our second place finisher with the number 82 Silverado Sears Die Hard truck of Chad Cole. And I think we've got Joe's kind of getting ready to have a meeting over here at Victory Lane with David Comstock.
Well, I tell you what, right there, Chad Cole, good character as always. Good sportsman and a good guy all around. I've listened to him from week in, week out there and tried everything he could. But this guy, what a week he's had. The Cup car first, and now tonight, the truck machine. David Comstock, Joy in the booth. Got a copy?
Yeah, how's it going?
Well, you got the confetti and everything flying here in Victory Lane for you because you've had one heck of a week there. And they're going to start, I think after a while, they're actually going to start on the racing biz, kind of maybe bidding off your luck that you're having because you had a lot of luck there in the Cup Series, won that tonight. Well, you did a lot of dominating here and won this truck series tonight for the second race of the chase. How's it feel to win here in Las Vegas?
Yeah, that'd be pretty good betting odds since Sunday I didn't have that good of a luck and contention there. So, we've got batting 66% there for luck. So it's pretty good favorable odds. But yeah, it's good to come out here and run pretty solid. We a couple weeks ago when we were at Bossport, we were running contention there and just made a mistake and cold tires and got off track and kind of handed the win away. Both my teammate and I caught us off guard with cold tires, and we'll let that one go. But we're running strong here, starting to chase off a couple top 3 finishes with the win here in this second one. So real happy just to be firing all 8 cylinders here and having really good solid finishes.
With the second race of the chase in the bag here with the win, it's going to be close. Chad Cole, Tretz, and those guys right there on your back tailgate with it. Coming in to race 3 of the chase, and like I said, it's going to narrow it down a little bit. How you feeling heading in to maybe pulling a championship off?
Well, so long as we keep running as good as we are here and outperforming everybody or having the opportunity to, it feels like our chances are pretty strong so long as we just keep our consistency, not make mistakes. We're pretty much perfect all night. Didn't have any issues on pit road. Didn't slide through our box. Made very minimal mistakes on the track. Just had a couple moments where I was getting sideways. This thing was a bit handful to drive after about 15, 20 laps once the balance changed and you get some wear on the tires. So, the guys that are always up there, they're going to be up there all throughout the rest of this chase. So it's just going to keep everybody on their toes, whether it be myself or Trey or Cole or Nick Silver, any of these guys, Chad Coleman that are in the chase. Justin Fuller, all these guys are going to be all up front every single week. So it's just going to be on your toes and on your game to be able to have a shot at this.
And you just pretty much summed it up right there. I mean, with all the guys as close as they are, running as good as they are, and you running as good, it's going to have to take mistake-free racing and mentality week in and week out to pull off this championship. But you did it tonight here for the WCIparts.com here at Las Vegas in the Truck Series. Got anybody you want to shout out for this victory?
Yeah, everybody at Aftermath Motorsports, thanks to them and all their support every single week. All the admins here at Sim500 that run our leagues and put on a great show for us to be able to come out and have fun every single week. WCI Parts for sponsoring the series here in the trucks and sponsors in the car. RacingBiz.com, as you guys know, go to Facebook, search at RacingBiz.com, and we got live auctions that run every Tuesday and Thursday. We got a big charity auction that is happening next Tuesday, so definitely tune into that. We got really cool racing merchandise and stuff that we go for auction, so go check that out, as well as online at RacingBiz.com. New Day Doors, Gary Mercer Trucking, Monster Energy, JD Laird, JDR Graphics for Paint My Truck. Everyone, all the fans and friends out there watching, and you guys for broadcasting, thank you guys.
Man, I tell you what, again, congratulations on that win tonight here there, David.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
All right, there you go, Gael. Let's get a look at the unofficial results order as David Comstock puts it in victory lane. Chad Cole comes up in second. Trey Etzen there in third. Nick Silver up in the fourth. Ryan Howard to fifth. Chad Coleman to sixth. E.J. O'Rourke to seventh. Brian Macklin up to eighth. Tommy Ryan's to ninth. And Steve Ritter rounds the top 10. As we look to the rest of it, it was a very good race. Caution free for the 100 laps here tonight at Las Vegas. And on a very treacherous track, mind you. So these guys were having their hands full out here, and it was interesting for our race 2 of the chase also.
Yeah, it really was. And as I went ahead and take a look at the schedule here, and actually next week's going to be a short track over at Richmond, so that's going to be an interesting one. That's a pretty good race to have the final 3 or the last third of the segment one on. So that's going to be a challenge there. And then as I take a look at the points as well, and so yeah, still David, Chad, and Trey are the top 3 in the points. Only 10 points separating them. Chad's 5 out of the lead, and Trey is 10 out of the lead. So, like we said, those three just throw them under a blanket at this point. They're right on top of each other.
One mistake can put you in doomsday, so to speak. But it's going to be interesting at Richmond. Short track racing as we go there. As always, like again, don't want to forget 9/11. Want to remember everyone on that tragic day. But definitely. We're going to cap it off here with a great race here with the WCIparts.com here at the Sim500. Again, everyone, have a good night, and congratulations there, David.